Who knows Elon Musk's favorite word?
Fuck.
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 Does anybody know why that's his favorite word? Hmm?
Because he's from South Africa.
Well, I mean, he didn't live there very long, but I mean. Hmm?
Because it's a verb, a noun, an adverb.
Because it works! You fucking meatheads! Just like when I call you a fucking cunt, you're never going to forget that the rest of your miserable fucking lives. Do you realize that? And subconsciously, the ones of you that are going to make it, and you're all not, I already told you that, you're going to try to prove me wrong. And I'm not wrong too often, though. In fact, you can count them on the head of your dick. Once in a generation, I'm wrong. He uses that word, swear words, as do almost all the high-performance people, except for when they're on television. And they're caught, in a private moment. When Obama was president and Joe Biden whispers in his ear. Of course, Joe Biden whispers in everybody's ear, apparently. But anyway, when he was whispering in Obama's ear, he says, this is a big fucking deal. And he's on mic. I got caught on mic years ago. They all swear. President Nixon, who I had the pleasure of meeting, I told you, he swore like a drunken sailor. Of course, he was a sailor during World War II. So he swore like a drunken sailor. Because it works. It adds emphasis. And of course now, you're considered, many people consider you not illiterate, but ill-mannered when you use profanity. And yet all the high performance, but most of the people on YouTube and you've never been around a high performance person. So you don't know. And these fucking meatheads that you go to their seminars, they're not high performance. They're pretenders. They're wannabes. There's 4 or 5 of them that have actually added a lot of value. You saw my favorite last night, one of my favorites. And I actually talked to him a couple times, trying to work out some way where I could do something with him, because his thought process is so much like mine. And who did you see last night, the movie?
Voluntary.
Love Means Zero. I couldn't have said it any fucking better myself. Love Means Zero. And so I got a hold of him, and I talked to his agent and him, and we were going to meet in New York City during the U.S. Open tennis, and something happened. I had to work on a deal, and I didn't get there anyway. But what are some of the takeaways from the movie? And the little old guy, he's in his late 80s now, but
he wasn't looking for people to understand him.
Like you. No. Like you want people to understand you, see? It's better if they don't understand you. What else?
He was accused of not having technical abilities. In other words,
He didn't. He never played tennis.
You knew how to motivate them.
Correct. That's all that's not all that's important, but it's one of the primary things. Not all great American football coaches are not all American great basketball coaches, and not all American and European football coaches were great footballers. Some of them were, but most of them were just great motivators. Except now the coaches have to be babysitters, because the kids, the athletes, are spoiled brats. But the way he broke up his relationship with Agassi, he still hasn't he didn't think he did anything wrong. I can relate to that. And if I remember correctly, he's produced 185 champions, which is about 5 times more than anybody else. And it's not likely he's going to change his style. What else?
If his students didn't meet his high standards, he would just axe them.
Yeah, just
Cut
drop
them
them.
They're not coming up.
You chose passion over love.
His passion. He didn't give a shit about their passion. His passion. Because he set the bar high, his standards were high, and he didn't give a shit about what anybody thought. Still doesn't give a shit about what anybody thinks. And having talked to him a couple times on the phone, it's his way or the highway. He's not interested in anybody's opinion. He says words to the effect, like I say, the last thing I need at 73 is more experience. Well, the last thing at 87 or whatever, he doesn't need any more experience. He's forgotten more. He has a saying similar to mine that I lost more brain cells taking a shit this morning than the whole industry has, cumulatively since Moses. He has a similar saying.
When his wife gave him an ultimatum of choosing between her and Andre Agassi, he just said, right, that's it, off you go. Got rid of his wife, let her keep the houses, the cars, the boat, and just went and pursued his dream, his passion.
Well, half of you are going to lose your slag. The one that you're poking right now, at least half of you. We're running at 60%. We stopped counting at 60% because we don't want to say 80%. Because you got married for the wrong reason, you had kids for the wrong reason, and you're an accident. Remember? You should have just kind of dribbled down. The dribble normally doesn't get past the knee. It normally stops right about here. Anything else about the old man?
He's always moving forward. Makes a decision and moves on. No emotion.
He may be wrong, but he's never in doubt. Success leaves clues, kids. But the king of all assholes is coming to last. The king of all assholes, the greatest asshole of them all, is coming last. You see it the night before the last day. And his track record for assholiness, that's not a word, but anyway, it's good enough, has been really papered up good. Well, I mean, to make him look something that he wasn't. But so now you've heard, and again you're going to hear somebody else tonight, that they're all about the same. Plus or minus 5%. Some are just bigger assholes. And so the question in the millennials and the kids asked me in emails, I only had a chance to read a few of the emails this morning, but well, as soon as they start that, wouldn't life be, in other words, I didn't even read the rest of the sentence. Wouldn't life be better? Wouldn't the world be a better place? And then I stopped reading them. Delete. Because we have made the strides in science, we've made the strides in finance, we've made the strides across the board with collateral damage. You know, the old cliche, you got to break eggs to make an omelet. And for those of you that have had omelets, there's a little piece of shell in the omelet because you can't get all the shell out. And if love worked, Nick wouldn't be the greatest tennis coach of all time. I don't know what he'd be, because he certainly wasn't a great tennis player. But all the gentlemen, and we're not using any gals as examples, although you read last night about the lady that didn't take a day off in 26 years. And I was thinking about it this morning when I was brushing my teeth. What I teach here is not dissimilar to what this woman wrote in her book, The Tiger Mom, 25 years ago. She was on 60 Minutes, NBC, Good Morning America, and about a Chinese woman who beat her kids, and you had to play 3 instruments, one of which was a piano. You had to have 3 foreign languages, one of which was Greek, and beat him like a rented fucking mule, this lady. Okay. Her daughters now are grown up. One is, I believe, a medical doctor, and one is a medical student at Harvard Medical School. Okay. And the lady that you read about last night, who didn't take a day off in 26 years, who's the richest woman in China, should it sound familiar to you? And her daughters, her kids, and this woman's kid, coincidentally, they're both Chinese. Okay, because in the old school Chinese, we're not interested. Children should be seen and not heard. And that's how I was raised. We're not, nobody, I can't remember. I was probably 30 years old before my dad ever asked me a question that I could answer. And it was when he was bailing me out of jail for about the 6th or 8th time. He says, "When are you going to learn?" That was the only question he ever asked me, I think. I don't know, Dad. Maybe never. I didn't say the name maybe never because he'd whack me. I just kept my mouth closed, but I was thinking maybe never, you know. Anything else about Nick?
He's another one who didn't care what people said about him. He just didn't care because he said if he had to worry about it, he had to justify his position, which would distract him from what he was wanting to do.
Yes. He said you need to pay the price to succeed.
He never thought about consequences, whether good or bad. He just moved an instinct.
He wants to make impact on others' lives.
He had 7 wives.
Correct. I think he married one twice. Didn't he marry one twice? Maybe I know that and you don't, but I think he married one twice. Yeah, because he was married 8 times, but he had 7 wives. Because you can, you know, it's a shitty thing to say, but you can always get another slag. And when your wives leave you, I mean, don't cry too much. What's that thing? Don't cry for me, Argentina. You know, don't cry too much. And conversely, gals can always find another guy. What about the lady that didn't take a day off for 26 years?
One of the things she said was in an interview, was that she regretted not spending a bit more time with her child. But I think she was really just saying that as a token thing.
You always say that.
Yeah. Because if she wanted to, in 26 years, she would have been able to...
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You think she could have done it one time in 26 years?
Yeah.
If it really meant something to her, absolutely she could have. Absolutely. You know, Genghis Khan, I was listening to a deal on Discovery Channel a couple of weeks ago, and Genghis Khan supposedly, well, he had over 500 wives, and if impregnated them, it was a wife. He didn't go through any ceremonies or anything like that. And so he had, roughly speaking, 2,000 children. 2,000. And when you go to up there to Mongolia and those places, and if you think everybody looks alike, it's because they do. Everybody looks alike. And when I was in Hunan province as a guest of the Chinese government, that's where Mao Zedong comes from, and he impregnated a whole bunch. And I mean, in just the meetings that I was in, about half the people look like Mao Zedong. Well, and I made the comment to my minder. I had 2 minders that would translate what I said or what they wanted me to say, even no matter what I said, and from English to Chinese. And they said, yeah, he says, there's a lot of people that look like Mao Zedong up here because he begat a lot of kids, you know. But the lady that worked 26 years and without a day off, and she's not the only one. I mean, I told you I worked from 1971 to 1997 without a day off. But you don't even think about it. In my ebook that's on my site free, I tell a story. Unfortunately, it's the truth. Sally and I went to Australia, and we had my mother-in-law with us, Jo. She was a pretty good gal. as mother-in-law. I only have 2 experiences with mother-in-laws, but as mother-in-laws go, she's a princess compared to my first mother-in-law. And so we're out at that Ayers Rock, you know, that big thing that sticks up, and they're having a picnic, and there's mosquitoes as big as cats flying around. And at our table, there was 2 couples, Sally, myself, my mother-in-law, and 2 couples. There was a young couple, maybe in their late 20s, from America, and there was an older couple that had immigrated from Eastern Europe someplace to Australia, and they had their 2 children. They had a 13-year-old son and a 15-year-old daughter. And the two couples were talking about, the older couple was explaining how they went from job to job so they could get more statutory leave, sick leave. If you work so much, and then you could take your leave and you could transfer it to the next job. And they spent about 30, 40 minutes telling this, a younger couple in America, how to do this. And, we may be able to do that. I think that both of the husband and wife work for General Motors. And they're going back and forth. And so then I couldn't take it after a while. And Sally is kicking me. Blood's running down my calf here because I'm trying. She says, please be quiet, please be quiet. And then finally I jump up and start screaming at him. And I said, these 2 teenage kids don't have a fucking chance because of you brain dead parents. You spent all night at a barbecue talking about how you can get a job and get more statutory leave so you can work less and get paid for not working. What chance do these kids have? Well, maybe not as direct as that, but your parents had the same effect on you. They didn't say, perhaps maybe some of your parents did say that they could take, get more statutory leave. But that's a direct example of, kids don't do what you tell them to do. They do what they see their parents do. And in that particular case, the kids and the younger couple that were sitting at the table with us all were getting bad information. Bad vis-a-vis, trying to do the best you can or be all you can be. And when you couple that for day after day, remember, show me your friends and I'll show you your future. Your mates, I know some of you have already disassociated yourself with your previous friends or relatives or whatever. Okay, that's a great start. It's not an end game, but it's a great start. But you've heard everybody talk about, including Peter here, the default's a bitch. And a couple of them have even said, Deb and Anneli said, when you leave the gate, that's when it comes rushing, it can come rushing upon you that, there's nobody there. So some of you are going to share cabs back to the airport, blah, 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 and you'll be talking about it, but then you'll get on a plane and you'll be just you. And it'll all come rushing in. Now what do I do? Even though you've been given the steps. Anything else about the lady that worked 26 years?
Yeah, they failed in a $2 billion deal. I think it wasn't her fail. I think it was her board being just pussies. They just basically were fearful for some reason. So she was trying to pursue that as a domain extractor to protect the revenue. And they cut her out because I think they were just too scared. They didn't want to, what we hear yesterday about the boards is as if they were like, I don't want to do that, I'm too scared to do it. When she knew they had to do that to save the revenue and expand the domain. Well, and again, your boards are going to be transitional. And as you grow and as your revenue continues to grow, it's not likely that the guys and gals that start with you will exit with you because they have different levels, they have different thresholds of pain. Their pay price to action. Their pay price to action may be getting you through 1 or 2 or 3 deals, but not all the way to an exit. Okay, YouTube.